You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Omondi Otieno.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us on KUTV Primetime News. Remember, you can share thoughts with us on our social media platforms. That is on Facebook, KUTV Kenya, and on Twitter, KUTV_Kenya. Teachers are the first and foremost educators responsible for equipping students with the knowledge, skills, and ways of thinking and working needed for their future lives. And as the World Teachers' Day was commemorated today, our very own Florence Ndungu had a sit-down with UNESCO Secretary General Dr. Evangeline Njoka, discussing a series of matters impacting the teachers' fraternity. Take a look.
Glad you're still watching KUTV Primetime News at this particular hour. And today is the World Teachers' Day. And it is a day that highlights the responsibility, the rights and values of teachers, as well as issues surrounding teaching and the teachers themselves. This year's theme is Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. And I'm more than glad to have an opportunity to talk to Dr. Evelyn Njoka. She is the Secretary General for the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO. Let's engage.
Dr. Thank you so much for talking to KUTV this day. I just want to know, today we are celebrating the World Teachers' Day. What do you think is the essence of this day that is marked internationally?
Thank you very much. This day was actually set apart by UNESCO. UNESCO introduced this day in 1994. Basically to recognize the efforts of teachers worldwide, to celebrate them because of the efforts they put and their role in promoting a social development of any country by ensuring that actually they shape, the human resource.
Yes, they are very interesting. This year we are marking the day with a very interesting theme, that is Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. What do you think about the theme, and keeping in mind what the entire world has been going through with the pandemic?
Thank you very much. Teachers, just like I would say the health personnel, were at the center of the COVID-19 pandemic, because education was much affected. It's one of the sectors literally that shut down at that time. Yet, there are efforts to ensure that, learners continue learning. So teachers indeed, went out of their way to ensure that actually they keep their learners on track. And there were many challenges. And when it came to recovery, because we're in the recovery phase, teachers have put in a lot of efforts. And I'm glad that, this year's theme is recognizing the efforts that teachers are putting in or have put in, during, this COVID situation when the schools were closed. They went out of their way to ensure that, they learn, some of them using their own airtime bundles to try and reach their learners. So teachers indeed have played a key role in the education recovery, and that's why today we are celebrating them. Thank you.
Right. We saw a lot of challenges with children being away from school for longer periods. We saw escalating numbers of teenage pregnancies and other social vices that were being reported in the dailies. And when we look at the whole situation, what has the pandemic exposed about the welfare of teachers, especially in the country, not only even the teachers alone, also the learners?
Thank you very much. The pandemic, of course, has brought out the inequalities and, the disparities that exist, in different parts of the country. We saw different regions had different, unique challenges. Regions where there is no internet. So we did see that actually the learners were idle, while a number of learners were able to learn, to be engaged during the pandemic by their teachers, those who live in towns or in cities. quite a number of learners in the rural areas, they were exposed. And no wonder then we had lots of, girls who became pregnant, and also boys who just literally never came back, they dropped off. And also, that the COVID-19 brought out the disparities, they were widened, poverty. Many people were affected, they lost jobs. So poverty was also one of the issues that contributed to many girls dropping out of school, becoming pregnant. Now, coming to teachers, the inequalities in terms of ICT, the preparedness of teachers, not many, of course, many of the teachers, they had difficulties because they lack inadequate skills in ICT. And here they're supposed to provide learning, to their teacher, to their pupils, to their learners. So it has been a challenge, even in the universities, higher education, where, teachers, the lecturers were required actually to prepare teaching notes and actually provide online teaching. It was not difficult. Some of them had to be retrained. So teachers have had a lot of challenges, and the issue of inequalities in terms of preparedness has actually been exposed during this the COVID-19 situation. So yes, there are inequalities in terms of the teachers' preparedness, in terms of also the resources. Not all teachers were able to provide bundles to their learners. I know some schools were able to provide that, but in a number of situations, I remember during that COVID-19 situation, parents were supposed to pay for online lessons. Not all parents were able to provide this, and especially the ones from the rural areas. So again, this brought out, inequalities at the end of it all. So those challenges that teachers face and they've been able to cope up with, are the ones which indeed have informed the theme of this year's One Teachers Day. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Do you feel like teachers are well protected? If you're not having strikes, as you said, other things are cropping up. We've seen teachers also being exposed. In rural areas, you'll find that the students don't have maybe places to wash their hands. They don't have enough masks. And this also has been exposing the teachers themselves, because not only are they protecting themselves against COVID, there are also kids who will come around and you never know what will happen. Do you feel like teachers are well protected?
Well, as far as it's humanly possible, I believe, they are, because the government has done its best. And TSC has also done a lot to ensure that, teachers are prepared. I know there were policy guidelines that were given to teachers how to protect themselves. And of course, this has been, a cost-sharing affair because, the parents were requested to have been providing masks, to their pupils or to their students. And I've seen, we visited a number of schools as a commission, and yes, we really appreciate the efforts that the parents have put in. Of course, in some of the rural schools, you still find, pupils, sometimes they forget or they lose their masks, but teachers have been kind enough to provide. Of course, there are challenges. There are those pupils who have not been able, to get the mask, but we've seen teachers coming in and providing for them. The challenge is that, they tend to, especially those who can only afford one mask, it's a challenge. But yes, they are trying. The teachers have really done their best, and That's the reason why we've not had many cases of infections in schools. The teachers have gone out of their way to ensure that pupils, they keep their masks on. It's quite a challenge. They are playing, they remove, and, it's such a challenging role of being a teacher during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Indeed. And as you said earlier, there's a lot of disparity, but there's also the effect of regional disparity in terms of allocating teachers. And this can be seen even in pupils' performance in different parts of this country. But now we have the CBC. Do you think the new curriculum is going to remedy this situation?
All learners, they need teachers. And even with the CBC, we need teachers who are very, very, qualified, or they are skilled to handle CBC. Learners, to impact the competencies in learners, we need, teachers to be available. So unless we avail teachers also in these regions, then disparities in terms of competencies will continue to be evident, to show. So it would be good indeed for government to have a deliberate effort to ensure that we try and reduce the regional disparities in terms of adequacy of teachers, and also make available the materials. And also I know teachers are supposed to use local materials. But in some regions, these are also a challenge, to have, especially in the northeastern, where it's semi-arid. Some of the materials may be difficult to get, so they will need also these schools in the arid areas. They will need a lot of support from government. So we need teachers even in these institutions.
Yeah, you rightfully said that we need qualified, not only adequate, but qualified teachers at the same time to teach our pupils, because we keep on saying that the children are tomorrow, they are the future. So what do you think about the teachers development program? I know it has faced a lot of challenges because of one reason or the other. And one of the reasons why, especially the tutors, are not happy about it is because they're supposed to actually finance for their own development. What is your thoughts, first of all, on the program itself? Because CBC is here and we need teachers who are well qualified. But what are your thoughts on it?
Teacher development, it's critical. And in fact, every career, you are expected to actually refresh yourself, to reskill itself in every sector, even in the private sector. So it is very, very important for teachers to keep upskilling themselves. We are living in different times. CBC is quite different from 844. We have emerging issues like COVID-19. We have new normals. Today, you are interviewing me when I'm far and you're able to communicate. So it is important that teachers keep abreast with, the changing education environment, because it's dynamic. It's very dynamic. And therefore, the introduction of this teacher development course is very, very important. And I applaud the TSC for doing this, because we need to keep learning. We need to keep at pace. The world is running and we can't be left behind. And Kenyan teachers also need to know that we need to keep reskilling ourselves. And I would encourage the teachers to invest in this. Of course, if government had money, adequate resources, they would pay for it. But because this is personal development, I encourage, teachers to invest in this, because it's really, really personal. When we go to do degrees to study, and many teachers have studied, actually, they've done degrees, they have masters, they have PhD, they do it out of their own pockets. So I just want to encourage teachers to actually set aside some money and invest in personal development. It's actually personal development. You're doing it for yourself and also, of course, for your learners. And because we need to be well prepared as teachers. I've always said that actually teachers touch the future, because you are investing in a child, molding this child to actually make a difference in future. So you're touching the future. So you've got to be prepared for it. And the only way to keep doing it is to keep learning and keeping abreast with the modern technology and a modern environment.
Yeah. Before we talk about technology, there's something else I wanted to talk about, especially insecurity. We've seen there's a lot of insecurity in Laikipia, in some parts of northern Kenya, and the government is actually championing for transition, 100% transition, and championing for all children to get quality education. But there is that factor, that is insecurity. How do you think this issue should be solved once and for all, so that all children in this country get equal right to an education?
The challenge of insecurity has been with us for many, many years. And I know there has been government efforts. We have actually been part of the teams that normally go to preach peace and actually capacity build communities. We promote, peace. As you know, that UNESCO promotes a peace and promotes a peace education among teachers and also among pupils. So what I think there should be a multi-sectoral approach. Teachers cannot do it on their own. The ministry, the Ministry of Administration, in security, the internal security, they cannot do it on their own. We need to actually involve community leaders, a multi-sectoral approach, and bringing community leaders so that they can provide solutions would be a good thing. Perhaps we've really never known how to go around the problem. And it's about time probably we engage communities, we engage even the young people and try and come up with solutions, intercultural dialogue. Because most of the infighting in the northeastern is different clans, and also it's because of contributed because of poverty. Perhaps if government provided, opportunities for young people, to occupy them, probably that would actually change, and it's possible. So probably rethinking a multi-sectoral approach that can be effective, perhaps that would do.
Mm-hmm. Are there teachers who are still not willing to work in some areas of this country due to the issue?
Yes, many of them. And that's why the TSC came up with a policy that, once you're employed, you must work in a place for 5 years. And before the 5 years come, you'll see a lot of agitation. Teachers don't want to actually, stay there. One, because of insecurity. Two, because of the hardship, that goes with it. They go without water, they don't have social amenities, the critical social amenities. And perhaps this is something that probably government would think about, ensuring that there are social amenities for teachers and probably, good incentives to make them stay. Perhaps that would do. When I talk about the social amenities, is to ensure that, health facilities, the accommodation, maybe government could provide accommodation, put up nice houses, ensure there is water, ensure there is electricity, ensure there are shops, entertainment joints. Perhaps it would be good to invest in every village, where there are schools, to make sure that the teachers are, and also provide security. I think government need to go out of their way, its way, and provide these social amenities and ensure good incentives for teachers.
Right. Lastly, what is the future of the Kenyan education in the country?
The future of education in this country is bright, and actually Kenya is a global leader, and the government has put in a lot of efforts. We are now talking about CBC. We are a leader in the region, providing a competency-based, curriculum, even, globally, and many times Kenya is called upon to showcase, her achievements in terms of, education. So the future of education in this country, I see it very, very bright with CBC, which has lots of advantages, the competencies, and also, teaching competencies, the values, it's a value education, value-based education, which is very, very desirable. So you can see the learners, they have been skilled, the competencies they have acquired, the self-esteem. I'm sure in the social media you've been seeing the videos of, the young people, doing something, including another one, which was, another was preaching.
Yeah.
So the future is bright, and we just need to support teachers, to motivate them, and to encourage them. I think the welfare of teachers is at the core of this. I think government needs to keep thinking of how, they can improve, or how the welfare of teachers can be improved to ensure that actually even they are willing to go back to learn, they are willing to skill themselves without being pushed, so that we can actually touch the lives of learners better in this country, and also improve the quality of education, which I must say it's good quality. We are out there, we are in the Commission for UNESCO, and we always hear, Kenya being applauded because of the efforts that the government has put, to promote quality of education, and also inclusion, ensure that actually we have inclusivity, and that, you've seen the efforts of the cabinet secretary to ensure that, all learners transited, from primary to secondary school. So those are great efforts, and Kenya is doing well, and I have faith in the government that, the quality of education will continue to improve day by day.
All right. Daktari, thank you so much. That was a very insightful interview, and looking forward to having more of these interviews.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me for this interview. It's my joy. I'm a teacher. I'm a trained teacher, a secondary school teacher. I've taught many years. Yeah. I was also a principal quite a number of years. And I'm happy actually to celebrate teachers. I'm one of them. Yeah. I have a number of my former students who have sent me messages today. So I thank all the teachers. Allow me to actually congratulate all the teachers for the difference that they are making in their learners, or they have made in their learners. So thank you very much. I thank you all the teachers. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
God bless.
We celebrate you too as a teacher, and also, once a teacher, always a teacher.
Always
and also for the good work you're doing to ensure that teachers are actually very comfortable doing their job. Asante sana.
Karibu. Thank you very much. Thank you, Florence.
Countries all over the world acknowledge the significance of having qualified, competent, and very motivated teachers in the society. And according to Dr. Evelyn Njoka, she's telling us that the government has put its best foot forward to ensure that the teachers are well taken care of in this country, so that we can give the children quality education. Thank you for watching, and keep watching KUTV.
And without teachers, life would have no class. That has been a very insightful, discussion with Florence Ndungu. We are taking another very short break here.